Hey guys, today's day back with another video on a recent build that I did last summer and fall, and like I said, I haven't built ship models for quite some time. Always was fascinated with ship models. Never in the Navy or Armed Forces or nothing like that, but I just was always thought they were pretty cool, the different designs and stuff like that. And also, I decided I wanted to always build a nice looking detailed aircraft carrier. And this is the Trumpeter 1/700 scale USS Nimitz, the 2005 version, the more modern version. So I had decided, since it was you could build a full hull, waterline hull, I decided I wanted to do a water diorama, a seascape. It did come with a molded, plastic clear molded seascape with all the waves and ripples, but it it had some pretty decent detail as far as around the bow and the stern and all that, along the sides of the ship. But I wanted to make my own because it was kind of flimsy. You would have had to probably build it up underneath with some wood or something. Um, and it just didn't seem like it was gonna turn out right for me. So I decided to make my own. So we'll get into a little bit of that after we take a look at the model. But this model was a challenge. I don't mind models with numerous parts, but I believe there was somewhere between 8 to 900, probably close to about 873, somewhere about there, parts to it. Um, a lot of little parts that'll make you go blind, especially when you get to the aircraft. Those are little model kits in themselves. The aircraft, you have to glue the tail fins on. You have to glue the landing gear on. The little missile underneath the wings are separate pieces. And the problem is, you can see the canopy's a little bit kind of on the clear side. These are molded in clear, so it's very difficult to see where the mounting locations are. Even with the magnifying glass, it's like, everything being clear, everything kind of blends in and stuff. But we got them done. One thing I did not do on the aircraft, I did not put any of the United States Air Force marking decals on them. The decals were so small. A lot of the markings weren't much bigger than the tip of a sewing needle. So it was just going to be too much of a strain on the eyes. So I did manage. I mean, it takes away from the realism and stuff, but I just the eyes wouldn't have been able to handle the hundreds of little tiny decals. I mean, they even had so far as the little warning decals and stuff to put on the sides of the fuselages and stuff, and it was just no way. Sorry about that, but if you do get one of these Trumpeter kits, most of their aircraft with the kits are little model kits in themselves. Like I said, each one of these planes, there was like three different styles of jet fighters, and six of each. Uh, Other aircraft, there was like a couple of each, two of each, four of each of another one. There was four helicopters. Everything was molded in clear, and the wings are so paper thin, they're brittle. If you put just the slightest too much finger pressure when you're holding them, they'll just break, fall off. So um, very tedious. I think it took me about 3 months just to put the airplanes together. The ship was tedious. A lot of small detail parts, as far as all the lifeboats on the sides, inside of those side walkways that I call them trenches on the sides. There's a lot of little detail as far as fire hose reels and stuff. That's all little parts, add-on parts and everything. Um, the tower itself, all the radar and things like that. There's parts. The island superstructure. Um, there's probably about 100 parts on there. I did do the photo etch as far as railings and stuff, as you can see. Zoom in, see some of it there. I did the all the railings on the tower, the superstructure. There's photo etch parts that go at the edge of the different edges of the ship, like I guess like safety type netting or something. I did all that photo etch, and all that. Um, I said the planes. Those were really, really tedious and stuff. There's a lot of detail back there. Some of the photo etch, as far as like that, whatever that is on at the bottom part of the stern back there, right above the water, and that part comes with the kit. As far as being photo etched, there's some photo etch that comes with the kit, but most of it's the Edwards photo etch kit. The railings on all these little islands and stuff that stick off the sides, peninsulas, whatever I call them. I did all the railings on that stuff. There's a lot of radar stuff that was photo etched with the add-on photo etch and stuff that makes it look more realistic than the thick plastic ones. There's numerous. The antennas are the kit supplied plastic ones. The photo etch ones are pretty much they were flat, so they didn't really look three-dimensional and stuff. So I did use the kit supplied all the antennas and all that. It's got a detailed Hangar Bay. It actually comes with a clear top if you want to make it see-through to see all the detail. I didn't do it. There's other videos that show off the Hangar Bay where they store all the planes and do all the work and stuff. You can see that, but there are planes in there. I just didn't think. I thought about lighting it, but there's really no room even for SMDs in there. There's no room, and it'll just be a big bright white light and stuff and everything, and there's no place really to run wires as far as up along the ceiling of the Hangar Bay, because it's right underneath the deck, and there's a lot of different glue joints and stuff that would have been involved in all that, and so I didn't go to lighting routes. I could have lit the island, the superstructure on the island up, because that's all cast and clear parts and everything. So I thought about, I would have tinted the windows green with some Model Master clear green and stuff and lit it up. But I just went the route, no lights on it and stuff. There are a couple guys that did lights on some of them. Some of the models. This is a 1/700 scale. Some of them are bigger and all that, but it would have looked pretty cool. But it would have been just too much work, and I'm starting to get up there in the years. So I'm 59 years old now. So some of that stuff is getting to be a little tedious as far as tiny little intricate lighting and details and stuff like that. Star Trek ships, sci-fi ships is more my bag. This is kind of out of my comfort zone. But like I said, I always wanted to build a nice looking aircraft carrier. It's the USS Nimitz, 1/700 scale by Trumpeter. It's the 2005 version, so it's pretty much one of their current aircraft carriers that's still in service and all that. What else can I say? The model measures itself. It's almost 5 inches wide, and it's just slightly under 20 inches. I think it's like 19 7/8 or something like that. We'll call it 20 inches long. So it's a good size model. It packs a lot of detail, especially with all the parts and everything. I mean, all the little tiny the radars and different antennas and stuff and all that. Like I said, there's a lot of little parts, and some of them are even hard to handle with a pair of tweezers and stuff without losing them. Especially, like I said, like up on that tower there. Let's try to get it to focus in some. Anyway, on that tower, there's probably about 20 or 30 little. I mean, they're so small. You could have probably just got away with a piece of piano wire to represent a lot of that stuff, but it wouldn't have the little detail curves and stuff on it and stuff. But yeah, it was fun to build and all that, and like I said, I decided I wanted to do a water display. As far as the decals, they're in sections, so it's not too difficult to get them to go down straight, and they do have molded in where all the lines and stuff are on the deck, so it's pretty hard. It's pretty easy to get the decals positioned just in the right place and get them where they come out pretty straight. So happy with that. As far as the top of the deck, I didn't do a whole lot of like patchwork painting, because different shades of gray. I just used a dark. I think it was probably a gunship gray, something close to that. And then I went over it with some brownish color chalk I got. It's almost like a dirty gray chalk, and kind of give it some different shading effects. And where the planes take off, I kind of lightened those areas up, like from wear and stuff like that. There's a couple areas I did make a little darker, but I got them covered up with the planes right now and stuff. There you can see all that little detail parts on that tower right there. I mean, those parts are so tiny and everything. It came with all the cranes and everything, little brass wire for the catch cables and stuff when the planes come in to land, and also all that. So as far as my my base, I just had a piece of 1x10 laying around. I cut it to the size I wanted to. Basically what I did, I painted it. I used some Apple, whatever the brand they carry at Walmart, the craft paints, like for 99 cents or $1 a bottle. It's called Ocean Blue, and I went over, you can see there's kind of a little bit of greenish effect to it underneath, and that I painted the whole base to one solid color. And I went in through different areas with the like the greenish, it's called sea green or something like that, to kind of make it look like some areas, to give it some depth, like the water being a little deeper or something. And if you ever look at an aerial view on a map or something, you see the picture of the ocean. It's got different shades, blues, greens, and stuff like that. And it's not just one solid color. For my water effect, I did a lot of model railroading. I was always pretty good at modeling rivers and waterfalls and stuff. Waterfalls, as far as you used angel hair before you put your gloss medium, whatever you're using, and it made the angel hair, it actually looked like falling water on a waterfall, because the angel hair turned more of a clear instead of white. So you had that whitish, clearish effect like a waterfall and stuff. So I was always pretty good working with water, but I never did a diorama this big with the water and wave effect on it. Basically, all I used was acrylic clear silicone, DAP brand, whatever, and just covered the whole base with it, a good heavy layer, probably about a 1/4 inch. What I did, I made a plaster cast of the hull and set that where I wanted it to. And then I did all my silicone around it. So when I was done and the silicone dried, it took about 4 days for the silicone to dry, because I put it on pretty heavy. But I made that plaster cast of the hull. And then what I did, so it wouldn't stick to the silicone, I wrapped it in clear saran wrap, cellophane wrap. Like you put over bowls and stuff to seal food in when you put it in the fridge or something if you don't have a lid. Wrapped it with that, so that way the plaster wouldn't stick to the silicone. I could lift it out and stuff. And then once I was done with everything, before I start molding all the ripples along the hull and stuff, I pulled the plaster out and I was able to set the ship, and it fit right in there. And then I just popped a couple holes underneath with a couple tiny little screws in there, and that holds the ship in place nice and solid, so it'll never fall off or anything. But I did the silicone, I smeared it all over, and when it starts to set up and get tacky, like the surface, you get a skin on it. I took basically when I spread it, when I first put it on, I just used a spoon to kind of, give it a little bit of a wave effect. But after it starts to set, it kind of flattens a little bit. So once it started getting tacky, the surface skin on it, I went back with a plastic spoon and I just started patting it, and it picked up like little tips and stuff. And being that it was starting to set up, they pretty much stayed there and everything. So you can kind of see there my little wave tips and stuff, and I think it turned out pretty good. And then what I did with the along the ship, along the hull, I got my trusty it's my little pointer stick that I always use. I just went in there and I picked at it and stuff, and added a little bead of silicone and everything, and where it needed to be filled in, and picked at it some more and everything. Along the front, I kind of let it set up a little bit more, and I just went in. I kept building up a little bit layer at a time, and then I just pick at it and try to get it to curl over a little bit towards the front and stuff. So that, and then around the rear of the ship by the stern. It's where the water gets churned up from the props and everything. I created a little bit more of a lot tighter wave pattern, you know, stippled it and stuff and all that. And I think it turned out pretty good that way. It was my first crack at a big diorama like this on model railroads. I mean, if I did a river with a waterfall, it might have been maybe a couple inches wide and a few inches long or something, and maybe about 4 or 5 inches tall as far as the waterfall. But it was like a little strip compared to this amount of real estate. So, but I think the water turned out pretty decent. Around the ship, I used more of a turquoise because there's a lot of water getting churned up and stirred up, even all alongside of the hull on the ship. If you ever see pictures, so there's a lot of air being circulated in that water because it's getting pushed, you know, at such high velocity or whatever you want to call it. So I did it like a turquoise green, so it's a little bit lighter along the ship and everything. That gives a little bit more of a realistic effect too. So once the silicone had dried and all that, I was pretty happy with the effect that I had as far as all the the waves and the ripples and stuff. But it had almost a flat, dull, you know, probably close to the satin finish. It wasn't glossy like water should be. You know, if you ever look at water, it's, you know, the light hits it, whether it's a cloudy day or a sunny day, it's got a shine to it. It's glossy. So what I did before I did all the dry brushing the tips of the waves with the white, I took the high gloss Mod Podge, and also the silicone. It's, you know, it's soft and pliable, rubbery. So if you go to touch it, you know, and stuff, it was rubbery. I went over it with the Mod Podge, the high gloss one, and just gave a light coat. Just coated everything like a real light coating, and when it dried, that gave me my gloss finish. And then from there, I did all my dry brushing with the white wave tips and everything, and all that. So pretty happy with the way it turned out. It might not be the best looking seascape, but I think it looks pretty realistic. It makes the model look more realistic than just mounting it on a base as a static display. I built the model in, you know, I mean, there's a huge ways you can position the planes, you know, when it's cruising. Usually when they're out at sea, a lot of times the planes are all in the hangar. There's none on deck, but I did it where they're like kind of like flight practice and maneuvers and stuff, you know, taking off, landing and stuff like that. And I used piano wires, so to support them and stuff. So I got the one in the back's coming in for a landing, kind of like that. You know, I got him positioned just a little bit higher than the deck where he's coming in to land. Over there we got a helicopter that's kind of flying around, maybe taking videos for reference or something, you know, tell the pilots what they might be doing wrong or right or something, or he might be just flying in and dropping off some personnel or supplies to the ship. Up front, I got a plane that just been just taken off, so he hasn't even retracted his landing gear yet. He kind of just left the deck and all that. I got this plane just came in, just landed, so he's on his way to get out of the way for the other plane. There's one, I mounted that one there like he's getting ready to take off, and same with those two there, they're getting ready to take off. The rest of them I just kind of got lined up like, you know, they're all waiting their turns and stuff and being serviced and all that stuff. And then up in the back of the ship, or what I call the back of my display, because this is the front where I put the little nameplate and stuff, but up toward the back I got a few planes different heights. They're just doing like a flyover and stuff, kind of like if you ever remember the movie Top Gun, where they come flying past the superstructure real fast, and just to aggravate the boss and all that, you know, the captain of the ship or whatever. So I got those up there like they're doing a flyby and stuff like that. And I was gonna try to do some more, but I ran out of planes and everything, and I didn't want the deck to look empty. But I was gonna do more of a formation, kind of like 4 of them flying in, you know, in the formation, the one up front, 2 in the middle, and 1 in the back and stuff. And but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Like I said, this is probably one of the harder models that I ever built with the number of parts it had. The small clear parts for the planes and all that stuff. But I think it looks pretty cool. Actually, the colors on the water my base paints and stuff on underneath the silicone, they look better on video than they do in real life. I mean, in real life you can see the different shades in there, but they're showing up really well. Might be because of the way the sun's hitting it's probably living room window, but I think it came out to look pretty good and all that. I'm happy with the way it turned out. This model is very detailed. The Trumpeter does make some nice kits. You might be able to pick up a little bit of a couple of planes in the landing bay. Let me try something here. I left the landing bay. You can make it with doors open or closed. There's some planes in the landing bay there. You can see. I did buy some extra planes. You can pick up the 1/700 scale planes by Trumpeter. I think you get like 24 of them in a box, and then inside of there, I got a couple of planes parked and stuff. I did have to do some filing around the elevator openings and stuff. The elevators will work. I got them positioned, and they're real fragile. I mean, everything's so tiny as far as the little tracks that they slide up and down. They will go up and down, but in order to get like those two to fit up flush with the deck and all that, the one on the other side back there, I did have to do some filing around there and stuff. So, but other than that, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the parts, the fit and everything is pretty good. There's no major issues where you got to modify parts to get things to work out. So, it was a lot of fun. I think it turned out pretty nice and all that. And I'm glad I did the water display, the seascape, whatever. But you might be able to pick up some of the different shading on the deck. I'm not an expert modeler, no matter what genre it is, but I'm better at sci-fi than I am this and all that. But I thought it came out pretty decent. You know, it's okay looking in my book. Maybe for you Navy guys or guys that build ships all the time, as your mainstay in the hobby, you know, it might not look that good to you, but I think with the different shading, like the wear marks and stuff, where the runways are, or the planes take off from with the catapults they're called, I think it came out pretty decent. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hope you guys enjoyed the model. Hope you guys hit the subscribe button. For those of you that have subscribed to my channel, thanks very much. And if you hit the like button or dislike, that's up to you, and it's not going to bother me whichever one you hit. If you got any comments, criticism, compliments, feel free to leave them in the comments section. Like I said, I always take criticism, and if you got any questions or anything like that, I'll do my best to answer them, and I try to get back to the comments as quickly as possible. So, till the next video, you guys, oh, I did want to add something to this. I am working on a 1/700 scale Trumpeter U.S. Missouri ship. Still working on the ship, doing some detail painting and all that little minute things, touching up, and I'm in the process of starting my water. But this kind of gives you a scale, two ship models of the same scale, how much bigger a aircraft carrier is. Let me get her positioned better this way. How much bigger an aircraft carrier is than a battleship. So there's quite a bit of size difference. And I know for a lot of ships, they use what the guys refer to as a haze gray, which is like a bluish gray. I couldn't come up with a color close to that. What I used was Zinsser primer. It's a light gray, and it's got a little bit of a bluish cast to it. So all I did was use the Zinsser primer on there, and I think it, comparing it to photos of the real Nimitz different videos that I took and stuff when it was coming in the harbor from being at sea and stuff, it turned out to be a pretty close match. So I'm happy the way my water turned out, though, especially around the front there. And I do have the little effect, or it's kind of you can kind of see it, you know, making the wake and everything on both sides. So anyway, till the next video. I carried on a little bit long enough on this one, and my videos are getting a little bit lengthy and stuff, and it takes forever to upload them and stuff, but I think it's worth it to show off some of the other stuff. Like I said, I'm mainly a sci-fi modeler, but I do enjoy other aspects of the hobby. I built many model ships when I was younger years ago. I don't have, with all the moving I did and stuff. I think the biggest, the nicest ship I ever built was the museum quality 3-foot USS Constitution, the sailing ship. And all the rigging, I think that took me about close to almost 8-9 months to complete. I was working the third shift. I couldn't sleep right, so I decided to build that model. Unfortunately, in one of my moves in my younger years, from moving from one place to another, it got mishandled and got destroyed to the point where it wasn't repairable. So, yeah, I'm not going to go through the effort to build another one, but that one turned out really nice with all the rigging. It had the cloth textured sails and everything. It was sold. It was the Revell one, the big one that they do, and it was actually it was at that time they called it the museum quality, and it came with the fancy brass supports for the base and everything and stuff like that. So all the figures, the realistic rat lines, not the molded plastic and stuff. So it had all the little rigging box, and like I said, that turned out really great. And but tell you the truth, if I had it now, I don't know if I'd have room to keep it anywhere anyway. So if it got messed up, it's sad to say, but maybe unfortunate, because I really don't have the room in my place these days to keep something that big. So anyway, till the next video, I might be doing another one here in the next couple hours of a model car. But I've done model cars, I've done ships, I've done a couple of airplanes. I might do one airplane in the future just to light up the thrusters and stuff, make it look like, you know, a fighter jet taking off or something, or, you know, flying at high speed. Would be something cool. Maybe light up the cockpit with some fiber optics for all the instruments and stuff. But other than that, I did model railroading. Like I said, I've been in this hobby probably about 48 years now. I'm 59 years old, and I've been in every aspect model railroading. I used to do commission work with that, as far as custom painting, rolling stock and stuff, and decaling it and stuff. I was using back then, like 30, 40 years ago, I was using the Walters Salva set for decals and everything. That's what it originally was. First, all the decals laid down on the rivets on the freight cars and everything, and all that stuff. A lot of my weathering techniques, as far as pastel chalks, dry brushing and stuff, I picked up from, you know, making model railroad equipment, buildings and stuff for layouts. I had a couple different layouts, mountains, canyons, the whole 9 yards. So kind of like the old Rio Grande, Colorado, you know, railroad and stuff, going through the mountains and stuff, and the Rocky Mountains, and through over rivers and bridges and stuff, you know, bridges. So I've done a little bit of everything. That's where I get a lot of my experience as far as different genres of modeling and stuff. But I've always been more to sci-fi movies, action hero, and like that. So my Star Trek is #1 in my book. I've been into Star Trek ever since the original series, all the movies. I follow the new ones. I kind of got used to the new ones, you know, the different look of the starship and the characters and stuff. They're starting to get to be pretty decent in my book. So anyway, and that's all for now. I rambled on a little too long, but I wanted to show off my Nimitz Aircraft Carrier in the seascape diorama that I built or made, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Until the next time, everybody take care. Happy modeling. Bye.